Danton.
All right, appreciate everyone here. A little time. Let you in. Just a little bit of a secret that I have that I find really unique here at Michigan State. I'm able to come over here and jump on after Coach D, and then when the winter comes around, get to follow. Either go before his or after his. But always like coming over and listening to those gentlemen talk, and I do get the opportunity to talk to a lot of groups about leadership and how to handle things, and you go and talk. And one subject I always bring up is who gives a leader a pep talk, and usually it's nobody. When you're the head coach on the staff, it's up to you to kind of rally the troops and the assistant coaches and get everyone going. And at the end of the day, sometimes it's just your faith and things that you can rely on. But around here, I get to come over and listen to Coach D talk, and like I said, his talk, and the way they approach it, the men they are and the leaders they are, and what they've established here. And really, it's a cultural thing. And as we've gone through last year and this year, that's something that is impressed upon you, that you have to build every single day. It's not something that you get to that point and then it's there and then you move on to the next thing. That's something, it's not like a power play where you think you're pretty good and you maintain it. You've got to work on it. You got to build on it. And seeing those guys and what they have to do and what they've done and how they continue to do that, it's a good inspiration for us. And that's kind of where we're at as a program. And looking at, we had the exhibition game with Windsor, which I thought was excellent. Didn't have the best flow maybe for us because we played all 25 skaters, played and 2 goalies. So maybe rhythm-wise, you're not out as much as you wanted to be. But we got to see a lot of things. And culturally, the things that I wanted to see was what was our excitement level, what was our camaraderie level on the bench, what was our energy level. And those are things that early in the season are important for us, and we have to have those started, and I really like that. The other thing was just some habits and concepts that we worked on a lot last year. And we got, if you look at our games early on, and Big Ten's kind of nice because it's a balanced schedule. You play everybody the first half, everyone the second half, and you could watch our games from top teams, Ohio State, Notre Dame, who I think are rated 1 and 2 this year again, how we played in the first half of the season, the second half of the season. And we talk a lot about concepts and habits, I think more so than systems. And the things that we got better at over the year, dramatically changed those series. We were able to beat those teams, but more importantly, we were able to compete with them for 60 minutes. And we wanted to see where, how much that held over from spring practices, summer workouts, and fall workouts to where they're at. And we're really, really happy with that. And I think we can build on that. We can get better. We'll find out real quickly here. Northern's a top 20 team. Then our second series on the road against Cornell, who I think is 6th or 7th in the country. So it'll be a great non-conference start for us. We'll find out what we have. Our depth is better. Our young guys did a great job. They're going to fight for ice time. And that's the expense of some other guys. But we want that competition in practice. We want that competition on Friday and Saturday nights within our own team. And I like where we're at. And like I said, if we can continue to just keep building, keep getting a little better, and stick together, we might find ourselves being a pretty dangerous team by the end of the year.
Danton, is there any early surprises, things that you were not expecting from a good standpoint that have shocked you a little bit?
I think the level of competition, we didn't, we went short rostered last year. We were at 24 guys, and then we had a departure, so we were even less. So we only had 1 or 2 extra guys every practice, and we weren't sure. However, we'd come back and keep getting better, and then the freshmen, how they would come back. And really the freshmen from the first 3 weeks to the second 3 weeks in the fall was, the growth was tremendous. So we weren't sure if there was going to be that legitimate competition up and down the lineup. But really, I'd say the bottom, I wouldn't even say 6 bottom, 7 or 8 forwards, and probably bottom 4 to 5 defensemen it's been rigorous for the guys. And that's a pleasant response, because guys could have just said, hey, well, we're sophomores coming back, and we played last year, we're going to play again this year, and kind of rest on your laurels that way. So I was real happy with how the guys came back, and I was really happy with how they dealt with the freshmen, and even though competing for a spot, I like the program in the sense that they were helping the guys, helping get around campus, help teach them on the ice, teach them off the ice, how to be a pro, how to handle things, and those are really good things culturally, and we'll go from there. Player-wise, I think everybody's come back real good. I'd say, the freshmen we weren't sure. Wojtek Skowiak has done a nice job up front. He'll probably get some power play ice time. Hopefully contribute offensively. I think Goodser and Madsen have done a great job, and they're going to find a role. They're big bodies. They play hard, and they're going to have some ups and downs, but they're going to contribute. And back on defense, Dennis Cezano, we knew kind of what he was. He's going to be on the power play. He's going to run a lot of offense, but defensively he's been real good. And then, the twins, the Kriegers back there, they're NHL draft picks. They're big. They're ornery. I kind of like it. I like their mentality. I think it's something that we need. Other than Brody Stevens and a couple other guys, we didn't have a lot of edge, and they're going to bring that. So, I think just the characteristics we were looking for in guys have really come out. And Drew and Ned has been outstanding, and he and John will battle for ice time. So I just think that competition day in, day out really, really helps us. It wasn't a surprise, but that's kind of what we were hoping for, and I think we've got it.
Dan, you talked about that depth a little bit. It's no secret the top line, one of the best in the country. What are you doing more to try and get scoring out of lines 2 through 4 instead of just simply relying? Because all 3 goals in the exhibition game, I know it's just the exhibition, were by that top line. I know Cody was out there with them and everything. So what are you trying to do to get those guys more involved, get more points from lines 2 through 4?
Well, we've kind of working through the year last year. Towards the end of the year, and you're right, we need that secondary scoring to be a better hockey team. And we started getting that towards the end of the year. And I'll go back to habits and concepts, just how you come out of your own end, how you enter into the patterns that you run, and being a puck possession team in the offensive zone, and working on those things, and then just having the right habits when you enter, and spending time down the offensive zone. So, hopefully some of those things have carried over, and I think they have. The other lines had a lot of chances. We probably could have had probably 2 goals on our second and third line each. They had good looks at open nets on rebounds. Same sleeve, they had a breakaway. So, we kind of look at chances, and those balanced out a little bit, but we're going to need that from them. So really it's kind of one, like I said, just being more time in there and taking advantage of those situations, but also, like I said, you throw Wojtek on the line with Saliba and Lambda, and that gives them a little bit of a dynamic aspect to their line, and a little breakout type offensive player. And Cody has played with the 2 freshmen, and he brings a little scoring with a couple bigger guys that can find some pucks and get in the offensive zone. So, you hope you can chisel in. And we looked at, statistically, trying to be a half goal better this year, and that's what we got to find. And if it's a goal better, even good for us. But up and down that last year, we were definitely top heavy, and I don't know if we had a second or a third line. We just had 3 other lines that played this year. I think there'll be some spacing with that, and hopefully some more danger and take some pressure off that top line.
Before the game, you had mentioned that you were interested or curious to see how your power play would do. Were you satisfied going 2 for 4, or what did you like about power play in the exhibition game?
Yeah, well, I like the goals. You always like those. Taro and Kodorenko and those guys, their groups, the 4 of them were together last year, and Dennis jumping in and taking Gatter's spot on it. He's really good at that, so they'll be fine. I thought the second group, real big part of, there's various parts of the power play. One's coming through the neutral zone. I think the second group did a great job on that. The second thing you have to do is how you enter and how you get set up. I didn't think they were very good. We talked about finishing their routes and being in the right spot ahead of the puck. They didn't do a great job with that, and that's an easy fix, and now we have some film on that. And then once they got set up, I thought they were decent. I thought they had some good ideas. So they'll continue to get better, or hopefully at a faster rate than the top group. But they'll be pretty good. And Rosberg and Osborne, if they can keep just putting pucks on net, that's one thing they did. Once we did get set up, they put pucks on net, and that's usually when you have success. But as a second unit, they've got to be predictable, go through the routes and get pucks in net, and I think they'll be fine.
You mentioned the goaltending battle, DeRitter and Nutman. Where is that now? First of all, what have you seen from Drew that you like so much? You said he's been outstanding. And then how do you go into these early games evaluating that?
Well, just, first blush, he stops a lot of pucks, and that's a good thing. Easy ones don't go in on Drew, and you like that. The second part, which is probably more important, is his compete level. He just never gives up on a puck, and that's good for him. It's good for the defense, but it's great for our guys in practice having to battle that hard to put pucks in the net and finish. And so he's off the charts on that, and I think that's something that, along with the Kriegers and a young man like Adam Goodser, they just bring a real high compete level, and that's something that when we look back, Coach Longo and I look back when we were playing, we had that throughout 25 or 26 guys on the team, and that's where we have to get back to. So they drive that quite a bit. So he's been real good. He's calm in that, and I'd anticipate early on that, and Coach Extra has a lot of say in who we go with the goalies, but that both guys will get quite a bit of ice time here the first, in the exhibition season, and we'll split a lot of weekends, and we'll go for there. But he's pushed it. That's great, and John's responded real well. He came off a little bit of an injury, and he's had a good 3 or 4 weeks. He looks better than he did last year, which is what we wanted. And he's older, he's got to be better. So I think those two are driving each other, and we'll probably split it for a while and see how it goes.
Dan, just as you start season number 2 Friday night, address your anxiousness to go to war with this team.
More excitement. I always think anxious, nervous, apprehensive. Those are they're not that far away from excitement, emotion-wise. So I'd stick with excited. Every new year, regardless of where you finished the year before, whether you won it all or you didn't have any success at all, I think that new year brings that excitement and interest. And it's a big puzzle that you have to put together. And and it really is. It's that journey and kind of keeping getting better. And I think coaches, you have to love that process. And as Coach D was saying, there's some up, there's some downs. I think we know what we're doing, and I think we know where we're going. How quickly we get there will depend on a lot of guys. But we've had enough practice. We have enough hitting each other. The guys get a little tired of me. I get a little tired of them. We need to spend some of our energy on somebody else. So it'll be great. And like I said, we'll continue to get better. This is a good group. We're going to do some good things, and we talk about trying to be a dangerous team at some point. And that's a team. And I've said it before. Where last year I think we could beat anybody on any night. Now I want to be a team that can beat everybody every night. And that'll be the step that we have to take, and we'll see how we handle that during the year.
Building off of that excitement just a little bit, when you see 3,000 people show up for an exhibition game, how do you take that as people here are ready to see some good hockey this season?
Well, there's a lot, that was encouraging. I think the guys like that. They weren't sure what kind of crowd was going on. I think the student section was over 700 tickets, and that's up several hundred from last year, so that's a good bump. Season tickets were up 800 or 900 over last year, and I don't think we've had an increase in season tickets until last year in 9 or 10 years, so that's 2 years of that. So I think people get the feeling that things are turning here, and certainly we do. And I think there's cautious optimism. I still have been preaching patience, but we're going to be a fun team to watch. We're going to play the game the right way. We're going to be in games, and we're going to win some games, and hopefully win a lot here at home. So like I said, you have to kind of temper that a little bit, but there's a good buzz on hockey, and I think people like coming up to the arena. We've last 9 games last year, second half of our home schedule, we were just under 6,000 a game, and I hope that we pick right back up there. And my goal is, I always said I hope there's a Friday morning when an alum calls, a hockey alum, and wants tickets to the game, and I've got to tell Barbara or Chris that we don't have any left, and buy your tickets earlier if you want to get them. That's our goal fan-wise.
Coach, the penalty kill obviously had its struggles last year, and I know once again exhibition, but 7 penalties, they certainly looked better against Windsor. I have a 2-part question. Are you worried about the team discipline as far as penalties go, and how do you feel about the penalty kill going into the year?
Yeah, no, on discipline, not really. I think there's a pretty good emphasis this year, and I think 3 or 4 of those 7 were stick penalties, and those we have to clean up. But they're calling them real tight. I think last year, I'm not sure all those would have been called, and I think the rest were probably a little harder on us, and that was fine. I like that. I mean, just those are rules we're going to play by this year, and there's an emphasis. So I don't worry about that. They weren't retaliation penalties. They're more, just maybe careless with your stick and some of those things. So not too worried about that. Penalty kill was better, and I think, come down to penalty kill. your best player has to be your goaltender. And I'm not sure what her save percentage was. It was .903 overall for John last year. Somewhat less than that on the penalty kill, which is normal. But we need him to be about .903 on the penalty kill, and then 5-on-5 even higher. So that increase in goaltending is a must, and it's going to break down. They've got 5, you've got 4 on the ice, or 3. There's going to be a play where you need a save made. So that's the first part. Second part is we're a little older, a little more mature. I thought they did some things better. I think last year we were kind of established the base of a pyramid in terms of concepts of what we're trying to do. And this year we're going to we'll try and be a little bit more proactive. And I always like penalty kills that you put teams in bad positions and then you jumped on them. And right now I thought on Sunday we were a little bit in between. We were putting them in those spots, and when you go, everybody has to go. So when you go on a jump situation, all 4 guys have to go, and we'd get 2 guys going. So if they made the right play, there was some opening. So we're going to continue to evolve with that. But to be really good on the penalty kill, that's how you got to be. You got to be 4 guys moving as one, and the goalie making big saves. And I think we're getting there. You want to do. I think we're at the point where we can do things right. We know it well enough to do it right. You have to be to the point where you know it well enough that you can't do it wrong. And we're on a timeline there. Hopefully we get there quick.
All set?